You've experienced it before. Someone tells you they're fine, but something inside you says they're not. Someone laughs too loudly, smiles too perfectly, speaks too confidently, and you feel a subtle tension beneath it. You can't explain it logically, but you sense it. That instinct isn't random. It's perception. The truth is, people reveal themselves constantly. Not through the stories they tell, but through the cracks in those stories. Through hesitation. Through exaggeration. Through the way their energy shifts when certain topics arise. You already see more than you think. You just haven't been taught how to interpret it. From a young age, we're conditioned to believe words. Language becomes the official currency of identity. If someone says they're strong, we assume strength. If someone says they don't care, we assume indifference. But as the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche argued in many of his reflections on human nature, what people say often serves survival more than truth. Human beings are performers long before they realize it. Most personalities are not deliberate deceptions. They're adaptations. The overly kind person may have learned that love only comes through pleasing others. The intimidating one may have discovered early that vulnerability invited pain. The hyper-independent individual may have once needed to rely on no one because no one showed up. The surface isn't the self. It's protection. The first truth is this: everyone wears a mask, not because they are dishonest, but because they are afraid. Social acceptance is powerful. From childhood onward, people adjust themselves to fit expectations. They refine tone, posture, humor, ambition, all in hopes of belonging. But no mask fits perfectly. There are always moments of strain. Discomfort when beliefs are questioned. Irritation when identity feels challenged. Those moments are revealing. Tension is often the doorway to authenticity. The second truth: what someone strongly condemns in others frequently reflects something unresolved within themselves. If a person relentlessly criticizes arrogance, they may secretly struggle with insecurity. If someone obsesses over calling others fake, they may fear their own inauthenticity. Projection is subtle but consistent. Repeated criticism is rarely random. It usually points inward. Third, silence often exposes more than speech. When someone avoids a topic entirely, when they pause too long before answering, when they offer shallow responses to deep questions, something is being guarded. Avoidance isn't emptiness. It's protection. What someone refuses to explore may matter more than what they confidently debate. Fourth, excessive displays of morality can sometimes mask a need for superiority. When virtue becomes loud and performative, it may be less about integrity and more about validation. True character rarely demands attention. It simply acts. When goodness is constantly announced, ask what insecurity might be hiding behind it. Fifth, people tend to lie to themselves before they ever lie to you. Statements like, "I'm over it," "it doesn't matter," or "I don't care" are often rehearsed coping mechanisms. Self-deception is not necessarily malicious. It can be a psychological shield. When someone's narrative contains contradictions, it may signal internal conflict rather than intentional manipulation. Sixth, superiority often disguises insecurity. Those who constantly highlight their accomplishments may fear being insignificant. Those who subtly belittle others may dread being overlooked. Genuine confidence rarely needs comparison. It doesn't measure. It simply exists. Now consider how the mask begins to crack. Most actions are driven by fear, though it rarely appears that way on the surface. Why does someone over-explain minor details? Why do they dominate conversations? Why do they disappear emotionally when closeness increases? Beneath these behaviors often lies fear of abandonment, humiliation, failure, invisibility. If you want to understand someone, don't focus solely on what they claim to want. Ask yourself what they're afraid of losing. Criticism, when excessive, becomes a mirror. The person who mocks emotional vulnerability may be suppressing their own feelings. The one who harshly judges physical appearance may be fighting private dissatisfaction. Chronic judgment often signals unaddressed pain. False confidence is another revealing signal. Some individuals project unwavering certainty. Yet watch closely. Defensiveness under challenge, over-preparation for minor tasks, irritation when questioned. Confidence that cannot tolerate doubt is often fragile. True inner security doesn't need constant reinforcement. Exaggeration is another clue. When someone speaks in absolutes, "I never get jealous," "I'm always calm," "nothing bothers me," the intensity may be compensatory. Extreme statements frequently attempt to drown out internal doubt. Volume is sometimes used to silence vulnerability. A strong desire for control can signal internal chaos. Individuals who micromanage relationships, environments, or routines may be attempting to stabilize something unsettled within. Control offers temporary relief when inner life feels unpredictable. The stricter the outer order, the more fragile the internal state may be. Then there is performance. In a world where identity can be curated and displayed constantly, the temptation to perform is powerful. When someone continually seeks validation, applause, or attention, it may not be arrogance. It may be fear of being unseen. The need to be noticed can stem from early experiences of invisibility. Sometimes attention-seeking is not ego. It's longing. As you observe these patterns, a deeper layer becomes visible. People often believe they operate from logic. But emotions shape beliefs long before logic defends them. A person who dismisses love may have been hurt deeply. Someone who distrusts sex may fear failure or rejection. Opinions are often emotional conclusions later justified by reasoning. When you hear a strong viewpoint, consider the experience that may have shaped it. Character reveals itself most clearly in moments where power is unequal. How someone treats individuals who cannot benefit them or threaten them exposes more than any polished public persona. Compassion without obligation reflects inner stability. Cruelty without consequence reveals unresolved conflict. Envy is another disguised force. People sometimes attack what they secretly admire. Criticizing someone confident, independent, or successful can be easier than confronting one's own desire to embody those qualities. Envy is unspoken aspiration mixed with doubt. And then there is repetition. Adults often replay childhood roles without realizing it. The child who was ignored may grow into an adult who interrupts constantly. The child who was punished for emotion may become emotionally detached. The child who had to earn affection may become a chronic performer in relationships. Behavior is rarely random. It is history expressing itself in present form. Patterns are confessions. The person who withdraws when intimacy deepens. The one who overworks to avoid stillness. The one who seeks attention but avoids vulnerability. These are not isolated habits. They are strategies. Each pattern whispers the same message. This is how I learned to stay safe. Once you begin seeing this, your perspective shifts. You stop personalizing every interaction. You recognize fear behind aggression, insecurity behind arrogance, longing behind performance. Understanding does not excuse harmful behavior, but it explains it. An explanation changes reaction. But here's the most important realization. Every insight about others reflects something about you. The traits that irritate you most intensely may point to something unresolved within. The qualities you deeply admire may reflect potential you haven't fully embraced. The patterns you notice externally often mirror patterns internally. This awareness is not about manipulation. It's about clarity. When you understand that most behavior is protective, you approach people differently. You listen beneath words. You observe without immediate judgment. You recognize that behind every adult stands a younger version still trying to feel safe. And yet this knowledge carries responsibility. Because once you see the mask, you can't pretend it isn't there. Once you recognize projection, exaggeration, fear, and repetition, ordinary interactions begin to look different. Conversations feel layered. Conflicts feel less personal. Patterns become louder than promises. So pause for a moment. Think about someone in your life whose behavior has confused you. Consider what fear might drive them. Consider what wound might be speaking through their certainty. Consider what childhood role might still be shaping their present identity. Now turn the lens inward. What do you exaggerate? What do you criticize most often? Where do you seek control? What pattern do you repeat? Self-awareness is not comfortable. But it is liberating. Because when you identify your own mask, you gain the choice to remove it. And here's the curiosity that remains. If so much of personality is protection, and so many patterns are inherited from past wounds, who are you beneath all of it? Not the role you learned. Not the defenses you built. Not the identity shaped by fear. Who would you be if none of it was necessary anymore? That question might change everything.